There has been a lot of joy here at Citizens Bank Park this past weekend, and there's also been some tears, and no more than today when Roy Halladay's number 34 was officially retired. His former teammates here to help celebrate. Raul Ibanez was unbelievable in his tribute to his former teammate and his very close friend. That is the Hall of Fame plaque, which is on display here at Citizens Bank Park before it goes back up to Cooperstown. Carlos Ruiz and John Middleton pulled the drape on the number 34 that'll be out at the left field plaza. Great to see Chooch. And then Lefty pulled off the drape, and Roy Halladay joined the immortals who wore Phillies uniforms that are now in the Hall of Fame with his retired number 34. Carlos getting a chance to see Rich Doobie and Charlie Manuel. Yeah, the Phillies and Roy Halladay, perfect together. How appropriate that was. Great giveaway. Again, the folks at Toyota have been splendid this entire weekend, and the fans certainly enjoyed not only the festivities but also the opportunity to come see their first place Philadelphia Phillies. It's Sundays with Schmidt. Mike Schmidt, Jimmy Rollins joining us here today in the booth. Well, back on the 31st of July, it seemed like forever ago. The Phillies were in third place in the National League East, 4.5 games out. Now you turn to today. How about this? They're a game and a half up on the New York Mets. 2 games up against the Braves, who were kind of stunned last night by the Washington Nationals. Hey everybody, I'm Tom McCarthy along with Mike Schmidt. Jimmy will join us in just a little bit. He's coming back from the field where he was part of the ceremonies today. Roy Halladay was special. Zach Wheeler's been special for the Phillies so far in 2021.
Yeah, Tommy, what a day, as you described perfectly. So much going on here. The crowd's hyped up because of a 7-game winning streak we're on. Roy Halladay's tribute was fantastic. You and I were looking for Kleenex up here.
It was tough.
Some of that old video of Roy is amazing. He's the one player, when I used to coach a little bit in spring training, I was kind of uneasy to be around. You know, I'm serious.
Yes.
He has that aura about him. It's amazing. He operated at a different level. Steve Carlton pulls his drape down on his retired number, and Zach Wheeler's on the mound, the big 3. You know, Zach Wheeler reminds me of Tom Seaver. You know, he's here. You'll see some of his last game against the Mets. A couple of the Mets have decent numbers against him, but he's started 7 times against his old team. He's got 6 quality starts in those 7 times, and he's operating on what is, I think, a 13-inning scoreless streak right now going into this game. So who would be better to start this 3rd game of this series than Zach Wheeler? And he's just so smooth. You know, he's a guy that does just about everything a young pitcher should watch and should do. Relaxed release. You know, great presence on the mound, good hitter. Everything about Zach Wheeler is wonderful. So I look forward to today's game.
And he was an all-star this year for the Phils, representing the city of Philadelphia. He'll take on a fellow all-star in Taijuan Walker as folks visit the Toyota Phillies Wall of Fame on this day here in Philadelphia. A lot of emotion yesterday. Yeah, the Phillies, they had a 5-0 lead. It got a little dicey toward the end, but guess what? They won. They go for the sweep when we come back. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota is helping to celebrate the legacy of 3 Phillies icons all weekend long during Toyota Phillies Wall of Fame weekend. By Xfinity Mobile. Get nationwide 5G included at no extra cost with Xfinity Mobile. By Citizens, official bank of the Phils. And by Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at IBX.com.
That was excellent.
We were up here crying.
That was excellent. It was good to see Chooch, too. I haven't seen Chooch, and man just disappeared.
Well, we are ready to go. Zach Wheeler's on the mound, already tuned up and ready to face his former team. Brandon Nimmo will lead things off. And the first pitch of this Sunday afternoon is on the outside corner. We're underway, and the count is 0-1. Nimmo's 0 for 7 in this series with 3 walks. Phillies had a real late lineup change, which we'll get to in a moment. The 0-1 pitch fouled away. Luke Williams is in left field for Odubel Herrera. Odubel was scratched So instead of Odubel leading off, Jankowski's leading off for the Phils. Try to get you the information on why Odubel's not in there. Here's the 0-2 pitch coming to Brandon Nimmo. Outside, 1-2.
He had a nice game yesterday too, Odubel.
Yeah, he did. That catch he made turned out to be a big catch by the time the game ended. See the numbers on Wheeler. He's got 2 complete games. One was a win, one was a loss. 2-2, 100 miles an hour. A little adrenaline rush on that one.
Guy's smooth, Jimmy.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I mean, he's been throwing flames since the day he stepped into the big leagues, and has learned how to pinch since then. He was just throwing hard, but he's put it all together here in this Phillies uniform.
Line drive. That's a fair ball down the right field line. It'll be the first hit of the series for Brandon Nimmo, and he'll get to second base and he'll stay there. So leadoff double, the 12th double of the year.
Tough kid to strike out. Nimmo got the nice short, I'm not striking out swing. Ball looked like it might have been a little in, and hooey, Jimmy smokes it.
Oh yeah, that was a sweet swing.
Now, do you have at bats against Wheeler?
Yeah, yes, I do. I did pretty well.
You're allowed to brag while you're up there.
I did pretty well.
Just fact, man. If it's fact, it's fact.
Yeah, that is the truth. That is the truth. I don't have to face him anymore.
Have to find that and see what your numbers are against him. Here's Jeff McNeil. And McNeil takes outside. McNeil is 3 for 13 against Zach Wheeler.
I do remember a particular bat in New York. It may have been like the first pitch of the game. You know, I like to swing early. And T-Mac, you know, was saying the wind was blowing out to right. I guess he was right.
1 ball and no strikes to McNeil. And he lines one, caught by Segura.
Stay with him. Stay with him. Well, they let.
Here's the rest of the Mets lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest internet in Philadelphia. Alonso's up now, then Dominic Smith. Javi Baez is at shortstop. Michael Conforto. So yesterday hit his 15th career home run here at Citizens Bank Park. VR, McCann, and Walker. Alonso was a big strikeout victim last night in the 9th inning of that victory by the Phillies. He's 0 for 7 with 3 Ks in this series.
I'll tell you what, T-Mac, these Mets batters are looking a little more hitterish today. I think they went back and decided, hey, these guys are not trying to pitch around us. They're not pitching to us like it's 0-2. They're attacking us, and they're coming out. Wheeler, you know you're going to get a fastball, and they're ready to swing. So as you know, this battery combination picks up on that, I want to see how their game changes at all, because these guys definitely look to be hitting off the fastball as opposed to yesterday where it looked like they were sitting for the breaking ball.
Yeah, would you guys go after Wheeler early because of that? I mean, would you be inclined to go after him early?
Well, when we had him, you know, he was younger, so you knew all he wanted to do was throw fastball, fastball, fastball. So I wasn't going to sit around. He's already at an advantage. If I let him go 0-1 because I took a pitch down the middle, I felt like I wasn't doing myself or my team any justice when I'm a fastball hitter. But he's a different guy now. He's going to establish his fastball early. He has to do that in order for his other pitches to work. So it's going to be an interesting match with these guys swinging early as they are.
Yeah, because now you're into an 0-2 count, and he's got an assortment of pitches that he can throw if he chooses to. He just goes with a fastball at 99. That's a good choice. First strikeout for Wheeler. StatCast powered by Google Cloud. Yesterday, the Mets struck out where they swung and missed on the fastball 20 times. And they were all over the zone.
Wow. Yeah, and the last couple outs of the game, Ian Kennedy, some toward the top of that box.
Yes.
But they were, you know, they registered only 93, 94, Jimmy. And I'm going, geez, they got to look like 100 miles an hour to those hitters, to Alonso and McNeil, I believe it was.
It was interesting how it was on them fast.
Yeah.
Dominic Smith is the batter. And Smith hits one out towards center. Jankowski is there. Well, they swung early. It took 11 pitches. There was a double. And Wheeler is out of the top of the first. We're on to the bottom of the first in Philly. Bottom of the first inning, we talked about the Roy Halladay Hall of Fame plaque that is on display here at Citizens Bank Park, and fans get a chance to get a photo taken with it. If you can't get up to Cooperstown, it's the next best thing. But if you can get to Cooperstown, it is a great place. Let's look at the Phillies lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest internet in Philadelphia. So Jankowski leads off. He was batting 8th. And then Segura and Bryce Harper. Harper in day games, excellent numbers. Mentioned Jankowski was batting 8th, but Odubel Herrera has been scratched because of right Achilles soreness. He injured that Achilles in Washington the other day when he stepped awkwardly to the second base bag on a double. Jankowski takes the first pitch for a strike from Walker.
Hopefully it's just precautionary, and he'll be able to come back after a day or two, just giving a little rest.
Yeah, he grabbed the Achilles the other day in D.C. almost immediately, and it was concerning at the time, but he stayed in.
Don't want to mess with the old Achilles.
No,
it's a serious one.
Jankowski takes low, 2-1.
This Jankowski, the other young backup players we've had on the bench, just makes me think about how important all of them have been.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt.
Jankowski, very unexperienced except for Brad Miller.
Jankowski played a couple years with the Padres, so he has seasoning, but he's been down in the minor leagues or wandering around trying to find a spot for the last couple of years. Center field, not deep, and Nimmo makes the grab.
They've all gotten to play. Joe's done a great job. They've all gotten to play just enough to stay sharp.
All right, so this is the Odubel Herrera play we're talking. Look how awkward he is there, guys, right? And then he slips on the second base bag. And then the catch yesterday, he came down hard. He was kind of all over the place yesterday, so, a little wear and tear.
And kids, if you're watching that, just slide. So that does not happen. Slide.
You're right,
the safest thing to do is just slide. If there's no decision to be made if you just slide. We saw it with Dexter Fowler when he didn't slide at second base, and now his knee blew out, and now he's in the booth hanging out like us.
I did think that it was his knee initially, just the way he stepped, that sort of non-contact issue. 0-2 to Segura. Segura hitting .308, 7 home runs, 39 runs batted in. Takes a whack at a high fastball.
How'd you describe Segura as a hitter? I ask you that. I think he's a slasher.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I definitely agree. He's in there to hit. He handles the bat well.
He thinks he can hit everything, every pitch.
Yep. He's not afraid.
And you know what? That scared me yesterday. The pitch up in his face.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And it just must have just nicked him.
Yep. And it would happen to be a changeup.
Oh, okay.
And it was a changeup.
And they also said it grazed his hands before it hit his face.
I thought I saw that.
That's what they were more concerned about. So he all checked out. 1-2.
Jimmy, today's hitters, in a lot of cases, don't really have the knack for getting out of the way of pitch up by their heads. And, a lot of times you see guys, just natural reaction is to open up. When they're like that, and they think the ball's going to break because it's coming at their head, because 95% of the time it does. So they start, whoa, and they can't get turned away from the ball.
We were always taught to turn your back. If it hits you in the back or the shoulder.
Segura sends one in the air out toward left field. Smith's going back. It's gone! And what a reaction by Segura as he's going up the first base line. It's 1-0 Phillies.
Slasher. The slasher has arrived.
Well, I guess he can hit every pitch.
8 home runs for Gene Segura.
We got so many guys, Jimmy, right now that that I don't want to say ignite the team. We're playing without Hoskins and McCutcheon right now. So also people forget that.
Watch this, guys.
All right, just drop it quietly. Oh. I never carried one down there that far unless it was a fly out.
Right. Nope, mine ended up around the batter's box.
Bryce Harper takes inside 1-0. Well, nothing like a first inning home run. Jimmy, you described that one that you hit against Wheeler. One of 2 that you hit against Wheeler in your career, by the way. Nothing like a first inning home run.
Nope. Capture that energy, and then if you're on the road, you take that energy right out the ballpark. We have a full house. I mean, with everything going on, great
nice
catch.
play.
Looked like Michael Jack over there at the bare hand.
Michael Jack wouldn't lean over that wall, baby. I'm telling you that.
But it's a lot going on. We have David Montgomery being honored, Roy Halladay today. I know when our teams had this, we just could not win. I mean, that is a lot of pressure. But this team down here, they're living up to it. They are not letting the fans down. They're hot right now. Hitting is contagious. Winning is contagious. But what I like most is that they're starting to believe. Starting to believe that they can win, that this division can be theirs. And that's when you have a dangerous team.
That means a lot when you believe. Because sometimes you have that little doubt creeping into your head.
And added to that, what makes you have that feeling of belief is when you see a ballpark with 40,000 people in it, right?
Yes, sir.
And you'll continue to get that. No one knows that better than you, right? They were sold out every night when you played.
At this place, yes, we were.
And that's automatic adrenaline.
Subtle chance of MVP in the background as Harper took that pitch. Takes another one. It's 3-2. Our Citizen stats leaders, last 10 games, the Phillies are 8-2. The Yankees are playing good baseball. Reds are red hot. Citizens, the official bank of the Phils, and the Blue Jays, well, they've been finding their swing too. The George Springer acquisition's been very helpful for them.
Yes, good to see him back.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Harper. And Walker's ready to go. Swing and a miss.
I'd have backed out, Jimmy. I'd have backed out. It's called time. I'm not standing there that long, right? I mean, we'll talk more about Bryce as the game goes on, but I really think he's having fun right now as a hitter.
A lot of fun.
I mean, I know he just struck out, but this whole right field thing he's got going and hitting the ball straight away and hitting the ball, against the shift the other way with 2 strikes.
When you were going at your best, and everybody knows about your home run prowess, and that comes with it. But when you were at your best, where were you? What was your idea in the box?
Well, there's another home run right there.
Conforto's going back. It's going to be gone.
I'll get to that in a moment.
Opposite field home run for JT, his 13th of the year. It's now 2-0 Phillies.
JT's been right fielding it for about a month now, on a regular basis, and what a good feeling it is when you look out there and you go, this whole ballpark's, available to me.
Yep.
In the old days, it was like, if I'm going to hit a home run, it's going to be center field to the left field line.
Right.
See where he's set up? Where was the ball? Well, he went and got that one.
Yes, he did.
JT does not pull off the ball.
He does not. He does not at all.
And now Brad Miller, one of the heroes yesterday with his 2 home runs.
Pulling off the ball, Jimmy and I are talking about, rolling over the ball, trying to, hook it. And when you're trying to do too much as a hitter, right field for a right-handed hitter just not in play. You roll over, you make an out.
McNeil makes the catch.
Good inning right there.
2 solo home runs. JT hit the second one. It's 2-0 Phillies as we go to the second. The MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to Citizens Bank Park. You can buy and manage game tickets, redeem offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Roy Halladay's number 34. Put up with the rest of the retired numbers. That includes Mike Schmidt. Johnny's not in the booth today, but he'd be proud of that hat.
You weren't going to say Johnny's sitting in the crowd, are you?
No, I said he'd be proud of that hat. Baez takes on the outside corner. He is here today. All right, well, there is a resemblance.
I mean, if you needed me to say it for you, I would have.
0-1 pitch. Ground ball over to first. And Miller will flip.
Take it yourself. Take it yourself.
I got to tell you, that split screen, the guy looks even more like him than sitting in the seat.
Yeah, he does.
You don't think he's watching, do you? Hey, John, are you watching?
He's somewhere here in the ball.
Oh, is he here? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's here. At least he was planning on being here. Yeah, he was planning on being here.
Well, he told me yesterday that if we were going to have that food service, he would definitely be back.
Yes. I think where he is, there's probably plenty of victuals. Here's Conforto, who is hitting .201 with 6 home runs. He homered yesterday. Ball's hit foul down the left field line.
I find it hard to believe that Conforto could be hitting under 200.
It's been that kind of year.
Yeah, that is crazy. Isn't it?
By the way, we shut the lounge down. Got everything back to normal.
Yeah, this is kind of boring.
So
yeah, really.
A couple of broadcasters around the league were asking. They're like, "So were you guys in a suite somewhere at the ballpark?" And I was like, "No, we were in our booth." They're like, "That was your booth?" And I said, "Oh yeah, we moved everything around. We didn't do it. Our crew did it. They did a great job."
Whoever came up with that idea, I'd like to be his agent next year.
You're his home decor agent.
No, it was a great idea.
We should keep that.
It was a great idea.
I mean, it's awesome. You can get up, walk around, stretch.
Mm-hmm. At some point, somebody was probably going to come in and take our order because it looked like we were at a restaurant of sorts.
I was waiting for that. I'm like, we have a lounge with no food or drinks. This is kind of boring. And then the big dogs roll in, Michael Jack and Lefty. Next thing you know, we got more
Don't
food
give
than
away
we can
any
ask for.
ideas. We still have a lot of the year to go.
Yeah. 2-2 to Conforto. I thought the best part about the food coming in was, well, the first one was how shocked Lefty was that so much food was coming in. But then Bull, when we didn't realize that the burn ends were from his barbecue place. And he was not happy about that.
We did not get the memo. But he said he was going to bring some up today, so let's hold him to that because we didn't get a chance to try them.
Bulls?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to try the burn-in cheesesteak. Yeah, it looked it. I just went to Shake Shacks. I didn't know the cheesesteaks were around the corner.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Conforto. And Wheeler in the wine delivers. Ground ball right side. Segura, he's got it. Slips a little bit. Gets his bearings. 2 outs.
Nice play. With a little flair, I might add. A little mini trio action there.
Good
right?
Call.
Did you like that? Some of the highlights of Manning the other night?
I mean, I knew he was good because I've seen highlights. I just hadn't seen a package like that.
Yeah.
He was ahead of his time. The way he did things with the flair and the ease, I was like, man.
Not a nervous bone in that body.
Nope, not at all.
For All-State good hands play by Gene. Again, not a nervous bone in that body.
No, you have that clock.
Yep.
You know, you know the timing. You can feel it.
2 outs, and here's VR. Wheeler's ready to go. VR is still doing some landscaping. Swing and a miss. 0-1. Mentioned the Phillies had VR, and they traded him to the Astros for Roy Oswalt. Jay Happ was in that deal. He's had himself a solid career. He was a big-time base stealer at one time.
A little tardy there. got to make a little adjustment in that batter's box when the ball's in the catcher's glove.
See where JT wants it. In and out of his glove.
I think JT is a fastball catcher.
He has been the last 2 days. There's no doubt about it.
For sure. He just putting that 1-1-1.
But you guys like that, right? When a catcher reads the hitters the way he's reading them, right?
From the defensive side?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you got Zach Wheeler on the mound. It's easy to be a fastball catcher.
Stayed alive.
Well, like in yesterday's game, you know, they had a meeting at the mound before those last 3 outs when Kennedy came in. Did they not, or was it with, well,
yes.
I think it was before he threw his first pitch, and they had a nice little long talk there, and he said, let's go right at these guys or something. Because
well, he went right at VR. He gets him with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. His second strikeout. He's retired the last 6. We go to the bottom of the second inning. He's got a lively heater today. We go to the bottom of the second. It's the Phillies 2. The Mets nothing. See the Phillies offense going back to work on the heels of that K. This is the Giant home run inning. If the Phillies hit a home run this inning, watch for the keyword to receive a valuable offer from Giant Food Stores, the official grocery store of the Phils. That's the giveaway today for all fans, thanks to the good folks at Toyota. Toyota has sponsored the entire alumni weekend, beginning with the ceremonies on Friday night. Paul Muller and the folks from the Toyota Group, unbelievable partners for the Phillies organization and in the community overall. Alec Bohm leads it off.
Alec got a couple knocks yesterday, hit the ball hard. It was good to see.
His average close to 300 since the 1st of July. They're playing him that way. Nimmo is able to make the catch right on the edge of the warning track. I mean, he was shaded way over toward right center field. So during the 7-game winning streak, to me the key is the pitching, yes, but just the number of runs the Phillies have scored. I mean, 54 runs. They're averaging nearly 8 runs per game.
How about that 300 team batting average?
That's what I'm impressed with. That's hard to do.
There's Torreyes. And as you guys mentioned, they're without McCutchen. They've done some of this without Hoskins. They've done the last day without Didi Gregorius. Bit outside.
So, Mike, we didn't get a chance. You know, JT hit the home run and went to break.
Oh, yeah.
You're hitting when
I don't know. I probably 79 to 83 was probably the time I did the most power damage, and that's when I stood way off the plate. Kind of did what they used to call dive. You know, he kind of dived into the plate. Did everything I could do to keep from pulling my shoulder out.
Right.
And when I stood way off the plate, I invited the pitcher to throw the ball to the outer third of the plate because it just looks like I couldn't get there.
Right.
And then I froze in my mind the right center, sort of like that right there. But you know, the right center part of the field as my target, and then just allowed the slow stuff to be pulled and try to hit the fastball stuff right straight away. And even the inside fastball, you know, when you hit a down and in fastball left-handed or something, you hit it straight away, you know you're really locked in there, right?
Yep.
And that's when you feel
like you can't get out at that point.
Yeah.
Like no matter what you do.
Exactly.
You know you're in trouble that day.
In the World Series, 2 big hits I got were both from off of Quisenberry, who threw sinkers down and in off the plate, and I hit him over the right fielder's head.
I wasn't hitting them over right field.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, if you can hit a down and in sinker to right field hard, you're pretty well locked in.
I would take a 2-hopper right to him, and I'm perfectly happy.
Quisenberry was a tough guy to pick up. I mean, when he was humming along.
And you know this, Jimmy. I was sort of a hit out around the ball guy most of my career, in the early part of my career. Out around, and it's not something I'd ever teach. It's something I got away with because of hand strength, forearm strength, and we were always taught early on to get that fastball out front,
right.
Get it out front. And I had kind of a top hand dominant swing, which is not prevalent in today's game, right? It's more of a stay inside the ball, top hand underneath, right?
That's what they teach. I don't agree with that, but you're exactly right. That is what they're teaching.
And that's why you see most hitters today's game spray the ball, because they're taught to stay inside the ball, pull your hands through, and keep your right hand underneath. It opens up the whole field for you.
Ball 4, Williams walks.
Not to mention a little bit of an uppercut is what they teach nowadays. So you got to live with the strikeouts and the lack of ability to hit the high pitch, the high fastball. It's give and take. It's give and take.
Yep.
And I'm sure you being a player that just left the game know a lot more about what I'm talking about than a lot of people.
I see it being taught, and what they're teaching, it isn't anything new. They have these terminologies. You want to swing up at the ball. Well, naturally, if your hands are above the ball, your hands have to drop first. So you're going to swing down. Even if they're trying to tell you to swing up, you're going to drop the barrel. Your hands are going to drop the barrel into the zone. And as you start turning naturally, the barrel will get, in a path that is going to be slightly up towards the ball. So why would I want to teach a kid to do something that's going to happen naturally?
Naturally, right.
If anything, teach them how to control it from getting out of control, to keep it within a range. Like Charlie should always tell us, those you're hitting in BP, you're hitting those high fly balls, the high home runs. And the game, once the adrenaline kicks in, that's going to turn into a fly ball.
Oh, or a foul ball, or a foul ball,
so
or a swing.
Hit the line drives, because when the adrenaline kick in, you're naturally going to have an upward path towards the ball. So, not that there's anything wrong with teaching it, it's just you have to be very good to explain exactly what you're trying to get across. Because if you say, we want you to, drop your hands inside and swing up, that's exactly what a kid is going to do without the proper knowledge.
No doubt about that. And they're going to repeat it over and over and over again. 1 ball, 1 strike to Wheeler after a big walk by Luke Williams. Swing and a miss.
You know what? An uppercut is very natural. When you were a kid in the backyard and Dad threw you a wiffle ball, you uppercutted that baby, right? Because you want to hit it over the neighbor in the neighbor's backyard.
Yep.
And everybody kind of has a natural uppercut. It's fighting to get the bat level, which is what you need to do.
Which is why I don't like the swing up. Swing level.
Right, and you'll go up.
Yes.
And you got to trick yourself in some way to make yourself swing level.
Yep.
My trick was to say I'm swinging down.
Yep, you told me that.
But, in reality, I was swinging level.
2-2 to Wheeler.
And I look at, some of the good hitters still playing. Miguel Cabrera, Albert, Shohei, Trout. Those guys are hitting the ball so hard and so far, and not one of them is swinging up to the sky.
And Trout is just, his swing is about that long.
Ooh,
He's about 3 feet long. It's like, remember how Utley used to, cut his swing
right
off?
there.
Yeah. 1-3
It's like a little boom, like that.
And that's all you need.
Phillies do get a base runner. We played 2. We're on to the 3rd. 2-0 Phils. Buying shipping and packaging supplies, we can save you a bundle. Boxes, mailers, tape, and more. Talk to who? But W.B. Mason today to save on your next order. We check all the boxes. Oh, the Fanatic climbing wall's busy today. It's been busy all weekend. Earlier today, Roy Halladay's number 34 was retired, and his pitching coach, Rich Doobie, was part of the festivities down on the field. And Doobs the manager of the championship Socrates Stallions. What college league was it?
It was a perfect game collegiate baseball league.
Champions. Yeah, that's right. Not pitching coach for them, manager.
No, I was supposed to be pitching coach, but Missy Manuel's son, Colin, had taken sick. So when I got there, I found out I was managing. So I said, okay, let's go. And it was a heck of a time. A great summer.
You going to get a ring?
I don't know. The owner we had up there, we probably will. I told him I wanted bigger than the Phillies ring, so we'll see.
Man.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. We were saying before, ceremonies were awesome today. They were awesome.
It was fantastic. Raul did it's typical Philly stuff. I mean, when they do something, they do it to the nth degree, and they do it with such class.
Well, and it was emotional. Mike and I were up here while you guys were down on the field, and you kind of got overwhelmed with the emotion of watching what he did and knowing that he should be here to enjoy this moment. Unfortunately, he's not, but it's nice that he is being honored posthumously by the Hall, the Blue Jays, and now the Phillies too.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, you wish, unfortunately, one of the Hallidays had gotten sick, and you wish they were here. And yeah, you wish every player could be recognized and be there while they are being recognized.
No
Richie,
balls, one strike.
I have a question for you, and I'm going to try to put it in question form, but my experiences with a broken bat, ground ball to Segura, my experiences with Roy were sort of minimal. Back 4 or 5 years ago, I used to go to spring training, as you know, and I was always a little scared being around him. You know what I mean? he made me nervous, and in the Phillies family, not many people do make me like that, and I just was afraid to approach the guy. And it turns out, after he retired, we got very friendly. We had lunch together a couple times, and back when he pitched, he had an aura about him that was.
Oh, absolutely. And he was a phenomenal teammate. Jimmy will tell you how great a teammate he was. But he had a schedule that was so regimented that when it was his time to get his work in and get his preparation in, you just left him alone. Stay clear. Stay clear. When that time frame was up, he was always willing to talk to teammates and players and even, media and whatever. But, yeah, he was just so structured that business was business, and then he had his pleasure time later on.
And we have a guy like Roy, and obviously we had Cole, we had Cliff, other good pitchers. How is the relationship different when you have a guy that is so regimented? And we know Cliff is just kind of like his own thing. Cole, you catch him reading a book. Like, how do you approach, what the game plan is, what you think is going to be a good, game plan for that day, and then putting it in his program?
Well, yeah, and you take Cliff and Doc. I mean, Doc, when he came over, I said, well, what do you like before a game? And we talked about it, and I always did my video stuff, and Roy did his video stuff, and we'd compile it and put it together and talk about how he wanted to approach hitters. Cliff came over after when we traded for him. I said, hey, Cliff, how much information you want before a game? He said, nothing. he said, do me a favor. Don't give me any information. He said, I'll pitch with my eyes, and I'll go off their swings and their reaction. He says, but if you start filling me with information, I'm going to be lost. Mm-hmm. So you take the individual, and again, you take the individual, what can he handle, what does he want, and you work with him. Because, I mean, if Charlie said you had to be there at 3:30, but we weren't going to be on the 4, you weren't going to be there. But we always knew when it was time for Jimmy to get on the field, Jimmy was going to be there.
I was going to be there.
It might be the last minute or two, but
seconds.
No, seconds, but it worked. So everybody's an individual, and you do what you can to put them in the best position to have success.
1 ball and 1 strike to Brandon Nimmo, and he takes inside 2-1. Dubes, give me whether you think it's the perfect game, the no-hitter in the postseason. What is the one moment that stands out, if you can think of one, working with Doc? And it may not be those two. It might be something else.
It wasn't. It was probably in San Francisco in the playoffs. I think it was 2010.
Yeah.
He blew out his groin in the first inning. And he came in and said, I hurt my groin. I said, well, let me get somebody ready. He said, no, I'm going back out there. And checked with him the second after he hit the cover first base. He said, I'm going back out there. He said, I can only do this and this. And I said, okay. He pitched 6 innings.
That was awesome. We're going to spend some more time with Rich Doobie when we come back. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd. Phillies are up 2-0. Phillies baseball is brought to you by your local Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer. Visit DelValHondaDealers.com. And by W.B. Mason. Talk to W.B. Mason about our selection of PPE, office furniture, and everything else you need to open and keep your office running safely. Who but W.B. Mason? There's Roy Halladay's number 34, which is retired here in Philadelphia, as is his number 32 up with the Toronto Blue Jays. And you can see it when you're walking around Ashburn Alley. It's sitting above the center field wall as Travis Jankowski will lead things off. And Jankowski lines one to left, and he's retired by Dominic Smith. So 1 pitch, 1 away.
Didn't you used to like that, Rich?
Absolutely. Please give me 27 of them.
Rich Doobie, Phillies former pitching coach, joins us now. Rich, the whole run, I mean, Jimmy's talked about this, but the whole run as a coach, could you ever have scripted it like that? To have something like that happen?
No way. No way. You know, we just, you know, it was a combination. The front office did such a great job. Charlie presented such a phenomenal atmosphere to play in. And all the guys bought in. And I mean, it went as far as all the foundations that these guys did in town. And, you know, if Jimmy was holding the event, everybody else showed up to support Jimmy. If Chooch's event, everybody. And that's the bond we had as a team. And at the same time, they could ride one another. And they respected each other, that, you know, somebody could get on somebody for not behaving the right way. And it was great to see, great to be part of.
McNeil throws out Segura. There are 2 outs. And that'll bring Bryce Harper up to the plate. I know that somebody going into the Hall of Fame, I mean, Mike's talked about, you know, coaches that he's played for, what it means to see a player go into the Hall of Fame. What does it mean for you when you saw Roy go into the Hall of Fame?
Biggest part is I was in the right spot at the right time. Really. I mean, you know, I got 15 years in the big leagues, never played in the big leagues. You know, I think of all the good players in the major leagues that never got a World Series ring or anything. I was fortunate to be around a lot of talented players. Now, I think I might have played a little part in helping them, but we had good players.
4-3 on the putout. All right, are you going back to Socrates next year? What are you going to do?
I don't know. I got to negotiate a big contract.
That's right. Dubes, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Rich Doobie, our guest up here in the booth.
Jimmy, as good as always.
Yes, sir.
Former pitching coach for the Fightin' Phils. Now the manager of the championship Socrates Stallions in the Perfect Game League. This RAV4 inning is brought to you by Toyota. Visit Toyota.com to find your 2021 RAV4 Toyota today. Toyota, let's go Phils. Zach Wheeler's just finishing up his warm-up tosses as we go to the top half of the 4th inning. Our thanks to Rich Doobie for joining us. Always in opinion mode, Rich Doobie. He was, man, he and Mick Billmeyer.
I love Mick.
You had some great coaches, Jimmy. You really did. You had some great coaches.
Mick kept the whole entire clubhouse loose. He had jokes for days. Sometimes he'd have to get out the coach's clubhouse or the coach's locker room and come in and just hang out with us. You know, he was like an adopted player.
I only know about spring training back in those days, and we had a ball in that spring training coach's locker room.
I saw somebody wearing a Mick Billmeyer jersey here at the ballpark the other day. I did, and I tried to take a photo of them, and I got sidetracked while I was trying to take a photo to send it to him.
That's sick.
1 ball, no strikes to McNeil. He lined out to second his first time up. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
You know, Mike, I'm not sure if you even remember this in 2007. You know, led to one of my best year. You and I, we just sat right next to Cage 2, right along that fence on the bench they had there. We were talking about hitting. You were putting your book together about hitting, and you know, I was taking what I learned from Tony Gwynn. I'd taken what I had learned from Barry Bonds, and you were the last piece of it, talking about the strike zone and how, you know, it wasn't the plate. It was about the size of a laptop computer if you open it up. And that was a strike zone. And for me, it just clicked. It's like all these years, I'm looking down at the plate like this is the strike zone. And the strike zone is this area above that just kind of floats above home plate. Take a laptop computer, 17 inches, open it up. That's about how tall and how wide the strike zone is. Learn how to control that, see that, and it just brought a visual to me that helped me that year put everything together. And so I had some Tony Gwynn knowledge, Barry Bond knowledge, and Mike Schmidt. Well, and, I mean, and thank you. I'm not sure I ever said thank you for that, but I tell people all the time, I'm like not to work with kids, I ask them, what is the strike zone? Because had I known that years before, I mean, I'd always say, how much better may I have been? But it just clicked. Like, the strike zone is not the plate. That's what the umpire and the catchers use. But it's this area that I have to control. I don't care if it's over the plate. I have to create my own strike zone and handle the pitches there. And that year, I did it better than any other year in my career.
Well, it's incredible how you can learn even that deep into your career. Seriously.
Well, when Mike Schmidt's telling you something, you don't listen.
Well, thank you for including me with those two other gentlemen. Pretty good company right there. The hitting company for sure. And you're also talking to a guy that struck out 7,000. Tom, I know you can find it. I don't want to underdo it, but I was in the top 10 for a long time. I don't know whether I am anymore, but so that proves I knew the strike zone. The strikeout zone.
Let's see. 1,883, Michael.
That's all?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm kind of mixed up. I was thinking that the big numbers were.
You averaged 127 strikeouts per year, which I'm sure when you played was considered a lot.
That's a contact hitter today.
That's exactly right.
For real.
That is exactly right.
Which always things like that. That's what makes it hard to compare generations to generations, because the style of baseball, what was considered good, what was considered not so good, is completely changed.
You know, and I hated every one of those strikeouts. I hated them.
I don't want to make you feel bad, because you know you are a
Make
Hall
me
of Famer.
feel bad.
You are a Hall of
Bring
Famer.
it on. I can take it. I can take
Tony
it.
Gwynn only struck out 434 times.
Okay.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
I bet Tony Gwynn never went to home plate and said, I'm just going to try not to strike out.
Nope, probably didn't. You know, he averaged in let's say 162 game season, he averaged 29 strikeouts. 29.
You got a couple quiet guys up here.
You want to see some scary numbers. Well, I think it was they had a Lou Gehrig day a couple of months ago. Didn't they have a Lou Gehrig day? His strikeouts are crazy low for a power hitter as he was. But yeah, back to the strike zone thing. That's for sure. It's tiny. It's tiny. And I was thinking the last couple of days, that box that we have to look at on the TV screen, I mean, we get to see it all the time. I think that's, my opinion is it's not good for baseball.
Right.
It's not good for the umpires.
Well, the pressure's on them. There's no doubt about it. He
we got a little
barehands as he leaps in the air, back of the mound, and fires to first in time. You may not see a pitcher make a better play.
Something tells me that's going to be the play of the game, the defensive play of the game.
Wow.
This guy to my left knows a little something about barehanding the ball.
You got to be nice and relaxed and comfortable to do that.
That is an amazing play.
If you try to barehand it and miss it, the guy gets a hit.
That is true.
So when did you decide to barehand the ball? Like off the first bounce, you knew that you had to do it?
Played on turf mostly, remember that. So it was a little bit easier to barehand the ball. It's that clock.
Yeah.
You know, the internal clock you have. And if the ball's hugging the ground, it's pretty easy to barehand. Probably also dependent upon your route, right? If you're circling or if you're going straight in, or who's running, and all those kind of things, you know, that you know as an infielder. If you're thinking ahead, you know, the guy's a right-handed hitter, doesn't run well. Why do I want to barehand it?
Right.
Jimmy Rollins chopped one to me. I got a barehand.
I don't think people appreciate the pre-pitch work, all the plays that we run through ourselves. Ball goes this way, who's the hitter? Ball goes that way. And it's amazing when we do that how many times the play happens. It's almost like we think it into existence.
That's another thing. If you don't want the ball to come to you, it will.
Watching the video.
Right?
All right.
The old, don't hit it to me. Please don't hit it to me. Here it comes.
Watching the Halladay perfect game video, Juan Castro said, all I wanted was the ball to be hit to me. I wanted to make the last out of this perfect game. And he did. 2-2 pitch coming. Foul back.
See, I'm quite the opposite. It's like, if it's hit to me, I'm going to make the play, but I prefer it to be like a fly ball to an outfielder or something. Real simple. Real simple. I remember being part of Kevin Millwood's no-hitter at the Vet on the Fanatic's birthday.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, oh please.
Ricky Leday made the last out.
Exactly. Simple, right?
Swing and a miss. Dominic Smith strikes out. 4 Ks for Wheeler. He's retired 12 in a row since the leadoff double. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It's 2-0 Phillies.
La carrera dice encima en la segunda base. Lanzamiento viene. Elevado hacia el bosque derecho. Profundo. Está buscando Martínez. Atrás. ¡Esa pelota! ¡Nos regresa! Raúl Ibáñez. ¡Qué tablazo aquí! Pone a su equipo arriba 2-1.
Well, that was Danny Martinez and Ricky Ricardo together calling the home run by Raúl Ibáñez. And this was earlier today.
That Roy was the most prepared, disciplined.
And Raúl did a wonderful job speaking on behalf of his friend and teammate Roy Halladay. And Raúl joins us up here in the booth. I know that you are extremely well spoken. You're great in front of the camera. That was an awesome job today. That was an awesome job.
Thank you, Tom. I mean, it's tough to get through, as Jimmy knows. We were all so close with Roy, and we always wish him the best. But it was just great to be here, and the Phillies have done such a tremendous job honoring him.
Realmuto hits one foul. I actually, Mike and I were sitting up here, and I think both of us at the same time. It could have been the fact that we knew him, but also because we're both fathers, we're both husbands. But there was a moment of tears that popped into both of our eyes almost at the same time as JT fouls that away. And I'm sure for you guys, Jimmy and Raul, I mean, you had to feel the same kind of emotion.
You know, I think for me it was easier because I went to the memorial service, and you get those emotions out the way. And then when you have something like this, you just sit there and admire and laugh at the guys because you had all those good times. And then Raul's up there giving a speech, and if you know anything about Raul, I'm surprised there weren't a few more jokes cracked in there. But I think there's been enough time, and being close to it, seeing his kids and seeing the friends, that you can look back and celebrate. Obviously, we wish he was here and he could have been part of the ceremony and his family, but we just get to kick back and and tell the stories about how intimidating he was, how behind that stare he had a big 1,000,000-watt smile. He loved people. He wanted you to fly his toy helicopters and get his his cars and drive around the field. All the good things about Roy. So for me, the emotional part I think I've dealt with, and I could just sit back and smile.
That's cool. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes to JT Realmuto. Mike told a story, Raul, about how Roy gave him a hug in the dugout after he was unsure whether he should interrupt his workouts or anything like that. But I mean, you knew him for a long time. I mean, he did love to work out.
He loved to train, right? He loved to train. He was scary in that gym. He was pushing sleds, doing stuff underneath, and always sweating. Never beat him to the park.
Yeah, first one there. I remember we told this story earlier, so I don't want to belabor it again. But he made me nervous being around him when I first got around the guy. I'm afraid to approach him and introduce myself, and he may not know the name or anything. Oh golly, wouldn't that be embarrassing? And finally, he just must have got word that I told somebody else about that. He jumped and gave me a big hug in the dugout in spring training, and I felt so good that I was friends with Roy.
That ball balls fouled back to the Hall of Fame club. What stood out the most, Raul, in your mind with Roy?
I think the preparation. there was nobody. It was unmatched. The preparation, the intensity, the focus, and the ability to execute and repeat and make the next pitch somehow better than the previous one. You know, he was never satisfied. Everything, even the day after the day he threw the perfect game, he went and did his interviews, and he immediately went to the training room and did his routine. And the next morning he was there in Florida in the heat, sweating and getting it done again.
Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to JT Realmuto, and he pulls that one to third. Villar's got it near the third base bag, and in time for the first out. I remember that because I had to do an interview with him the next day, and we were waiting for him, and he came out and he was dripping, and it was hot, but he was dripping because he had just gotten done with his workout.
But you know what's funny? Like, Nike used to take us on, they were called the Nike trips, Nike baseball trips. And, you know, I'm not getting up early. It's off season. We're going to Hawaii, we're going to Mexico, Bahamas, wherever. Every time I came down to the food room, Roy was walking in, dripping, sweating. And I'm like, man, this man sure loves to swim. You know, that's what I'm thinking. He's coming straight from the ocean. And I'm like, Roy, what's going on? You just coming, you know, coming in from the ocean or the pool? Is like, no, I just worked out. It's November. I'm like, bro, what do you mean worked out? He's like, that's just what I do. He comes in, he wakes up, he works out, he throws the ball, and then he goes on about his day. He was as regimented as you get. So the next year, same thing. I'm like, there's no way in the world he's working out again. Like, he hasn't even eaten breakfast yet. He's come in dripping wet, just like he's always sweating, working hard. And I'll be dang, this man just came from the gym again.
Wow.
His workouts were epic. His work ethic was epic. And just because you thought Roy should give himself a break doesn't mean that's what he had planned for himself. And that's what made him so great. I was chilling. I'm going to play golf. I'm going to eat. I'm going to swim. I'm going to eat. Probably a little unhealthy.
Fly ball center field. Nimmo's going back toward the 409 side, and he makes the catch. I thought he dropped it again. He hung on this time. He slammed it to the wall, and then he looked down, but I think he may be hurt.
Knocked the wind out of himself.
I thought he dropped it like he did the last couple days. No, he makes the catch, so 1 out.
First of all, Brad Miller puts a sting in another. He's amazing. I'll tell you, Jimmy, sometimes I don't know how he reminds me of like a Japanese hitter.
Right.
You know how he's kind of like running toward first base and he swings. And how's this guy going to cover the outer half of the plate? And boom, he does.
Alec Bohm's the batter. 2 outs.
Man,
ground out the third and then the fly ball to center.
But he sure has gotten some big hits this year.
Yes, he has.
I got to play with Brad Miller in 2013 in Seattle as a rookie. And you knew that he was going to be really good because of his intensity, his focus, his preparation. And he's always coming up with big hits. The last 2 days, I mean, the triple that led to the winning run, and yesterday the big home run.
Well, it's 1 ball, 1 strike to Bohm. All right, so we were talking about this. This is the RAV4 inning brought to you by Toyota. Visit Toyota.com to find your 2021 RAV4 Toyota today. Toyota, let's go Phils. It was great to see Chooch today. I mean, he pulled the drape on the number 34, but it was great to see him. You know, because we haven't seen him in a while. It was great to see him, too. I mean, that part of it, guys, I mean, Mike, you can talk about this, too. Just getting a chance to see your old teammates has got to be neat on these moments.
You always have many things in common with your old teammates, right? You lived together for like 8 months, and that's a long time.
Long time.
You don't get to choose your own friends. You know, they choose them for you in baseball a lot of times, but there's Chooch right there.
Shot
Another
the other
hot
way.
shot.
3-1 on the putout.
But you always have a fraternal bond with your teammates, no matter who or where. I mean, we only saw each other in spring training a couple times, and we'll never forget each other in our friendship. St. Jimmy, you know, it's one of the beautiful things about baseball, right?
That's right. It's the greatest game in the world, the greatest bonds in the world. And I love these guys, got to be around them, had Schmitty's cards growing up and watched them. And I got to play with the greatest shortstop that I ever got to share the field with.
Well, you're one of the greatest guys we've ever met. So thanks for joining us, Raul. We appreciate it. Great job again today. Awesome, awesome job. Phillies are up 2-0. We're on our way to the top of the 5th. It's runs for Radiothon. For every run the Phillies score during the month of August, the Phillies will make a contribution to help our kids Radiothon, benefiting Nemours DuPont Hospital for Children. Find out more at nemours.org/radiothon. It's 2-0 Phillies on top. We go to the top of the 5th inning, and Javi Baez takes strike 1. Baez grounded out to Brad Miller his first time up. 18 pitches of 99 miles an hour or faster through the first 4 innings, the most ever in a start. That one is out towards second, and Baez, he hurt himself.
Catcher's interference?
No, I think he hurt himself. I think he did something to his hip. I mean, he didn't even leave the box, and now he's got his hands on his knees. JT Realmuto went back looking, thinking that something else had happened, and he very slowly is going back to the dugout.
Could be a rib.
Oh, he said something as soon as he hit it. Yeah,
I think before he even started swinging.
Well, it's hard to tell, isn't it?
It is hard to tell. Francisco Lindor, who has the oblique that's cost him some time. His buddy Javi Baez came over to man shortstop from the Cubs, and now Conforto, and he takes high.
How does that go on the score sheet?
Just 4-3. Yeah, Wheeler I thought was going to.
He let it go. Smart.
Yeah, I thought he was going to pluck it out of the air. Yeah.
See, Mike never really had to deal with that, but I couldn't stand when a pitcher tried to interfere with the ball. Just let it go. Know where I am. I'd always try to get the pitcher's attention and let them know, hey, I'm standing right here. So anything up the middle, unless it's just, self-defense, let me take it. No deflections. It's my
especially double play.
Yes, I felt this is for sure out. Less pitches you have to throw. That if you deflect it and ends up in no man's land, now you're out the stretch and more pitches.
1-2 to Conforto. Swing and a miss. He hasn't thrown many curveballs today. He's relied on the fastball more than anything else. And there's 2 outs. There are 2 outs here in the 5th.
Between JT and his pitchers, whoever's out there, they have a great way of reading hitters. I mean, I don't know whether it's all JT or just something about him. He's such a heady catcher, not to mention the best blocker of the ball in the dirt. Probably one of the, if not the best arm in the game, to second base. I mean, he would have thrown 3 breaking balls to Conforto, or at least 2 after he had 1 strike, and he's pretty much been fastball the whole game.
Pretty much been fastball, yeah, just one after another. And it hasn't even been 2-seamers. It's been 4-seamers most of the time. 2 balls, no strikes to VR. A little calmness in the crowd right now with the Phillies up 2-0. Ground ball to shortstop. A lot of soft contact today, too, from Wheeler. 6-3 on the putout. He allowed a leadoff double in the first. That's it. That's a 9-pitch 5th inning. We head to the bottom of the 5th here in South Philly. Nothing as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning at Citizens Bank Park. It's a near-packed house. That means there's going to be a lot of Yingling popped open here today. Kind of a tropical feel to the morning. We're just walking outside today, so it's nice to get a nice cold Yingling. The lines are bustling out in Ashburn Alley. It's one of my favorite sights here at this ballpark, guys. I mean, the skyline's beautiful, but when you take a look out at Ashburn Alley and see all the people sort of milling around like you're sitting over top of a boardwalk, down in the Jersey Shore. As Ronald Torreyes will lead it off here in the home 5th. Not a lot of offense today. 3 hits combined, and the Phillies' 2 hits are home runs. Taijuan Walker's given up the 2 home runs since the All-Star break. He's given up 9 home runs. He had given up 6 in his first 17 starts. As he gets to Reyes on the ground out. T-Mobile coverage cam. We were spying on Andrew McCutchen throwing in the outfield earlier today. Talked to Kutch yesterday, and he said he thinks he's going to be good to go. He was moving well. Looks like he felt well today. Rhys Hoskins ran in the outfield today. He is not on the injured list. Kutch, of course, is. And he's hankering to get back out there. And it's 1 ball, no strikes to Luke Williams. We mentioned that Baez was limping as he went down to the dugout. So J.D. Davis comes in to play third, and VR slides over to shortstop. And Luke Williams lines one into left field, a base hit. And that is hit number 3 for the Phils. It ends in 0 for 13 for Luke.
As Charlie would say, you might be getting hot.
And for him, the 0 for 13 has been a long 0 for 13 because he doesn't play every day. He's been pitch hitting a lot, so he just gets 1 at bat from time to time.
Something the Phillies have done really well this year, sacrifice bunt.
Yes. It has been a big part of their repertoire. And Wheeler jabs at it.
I know Nola's been good. He's got to be up amongst the league leaders in the
he is.
sacrifice bunts.
Yeah, the Phillies as a team do it quite often.
And do you believe in the philosophy of today's game where it's already 1 out? Zach can actually, he swings the bat decently, but we're still going to bunt or take our chances letting him hit. Fits to a double play, we start the inning off with the leadoff hitter. Or do we try to get the guy in score position for the next guy?
Yeah, it could go either way. That could go either way with 1 out. I think with no outs, you obviously he's got a bunt. Nice hole there between first and second right now.
Inside corner, and it's 0-2 according to the home plate umpire.
He is a really good hitter. There's no question about that.
I would normally say bunt in this spot, but I thought his swings were pretty good in his last at bat. I know he grounded back to the pitcher, but he had some good swings.
There's a lot of the game today that you can question when compared to the game 25, 30 years ago. I think the whole transition started back in your day, where you don't sacrifice a hitter with a man on second and nobody out.
Right.
He'll score more times if you don't, give up an out and get him to third. Same with sacrifice bunts. The steal.
Ball's bunted toward third, barehanded by Walker. He made a heck of a play, and that's a heck of a double play.
I was about to say what a great read that was by Williams. Because it had to look like it was going to be caught off the bat.
I mean, this was athletic here, folks. Wheeler gets the bunt down, fielded on 1 hop by Walker, fires a strike to second, and then the return throw over to first. Resume in 4 years with the Phils. The second baseman accumulated 3 Gold Gloves and 2 Silver Slugger awards, leading all National League second basemen in games, hits, and total bases from 79 to 82. On his way to a World Championship in 1980, he batted .381 with 2 doubles, a triple, and 4 RBIs against Houston, capturing the National League Championship Series MVP. Manny Trio is the 9th member of the 80 team to be forever remembered on the Phillies Wall of Fame. That's why he's the Philly of the Week, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Fanatic doing a little dancing out in center fields. I mean, I guess it's a little dancing. Time now for a Hyundai defensive plays of the game. Pitchers fielding their position.
Who said pitchers weren't athletes?
I mean, he climbed the hill and then leaped to the back. This is an outstanding play. VR's throw was really good too. It's our Hyundai defensive plays of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. James McCann on the Mets' sense of urgency. Our Geico quote of the day: there does have to be a sense of urgency, but there's a difference between a sense of urgency and panic. Just like we've lost 5.5 games in the standings in a week, you can gain 5.5 in the standings in a week. That's the way we look at it. I think you have to look at it that way. Yeah.
There's plenty of time left, and you know, you have to think positively. Regardless of what happens, there's enough time, and you play them again. You're not going to need help, and hopefully you're within striking distance next time. You know, you play the team that's ahead of you. That's how you have to look at it.
There are the standings. The Phillies are a 1.5 games up over the Mets, 2 games over Atlanta, as McCann leads things off. I remember back, you know, the Cardinals had a stretch under Tony La Russa as that ball's grounded out to shortstop, and Torreyes flips across the diamond. Cardinals had a stretch under Tony La Russa. I think it was in 2005, maybe 2006, where they were struggling. They were humming along, and then all of a sudden just struggling. And he just kept running his same lineup out there every day. So he said that the reason behind that is because he tinkered with his lineup, kind of like the Mets did yesterday, where they took Dominic Smith out, they took Conforto out, 2 of their main players. McNeil didn't play. He said, if I start to change the lineup, then these guys are going to think that, yeah, we are in trouble. So I'm going to keep the lineup the same and bank on the fact that we're going to get ourselves out of it.
2 comments on that. One would be, in today's environment, there's so much of what so-and-so's record is against a particular pitcher. They tend to go with lineups influenced by analytics.
I would agree with that.
By the history of certain hitters against certain pitchers. What was the other thing, Jimmy? Us old folks tend to forget from time to time.
Did you have a
thought?
Oh,
I know what it was. In Jimmy's career, Charlie pretty much ran the same guys out there every night, right?
Yep.
You didn't have to. You, of course, never had to look at the lineup card, but maybe a platoon somewhere in that. But you and Chase and Ryan and everybody pretty much knew where you were going to hit and that you were going to play every day. That's one thing I admired so much about you guys, you, Ryan, and Chase, man. Every day.
Well, and you expected to be out there every day too.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I've rarely ever had days off. I would come in and wouldn't even look at the lineup card, and I would see, you know, maybe like Freddie or somebody getting ready. It's like, what are you doing? I have to go look, like, oh, I'm off? Oh, shoot, let me throw my feet on up. It means I got to get ready for the 6th inning in case something happened. But, yeah, it's a
I go knock on the manager's door.
You know, it's a vibration, you know, in the clubhouse when you know everything is going to be the same. A sense of calm, a rhythm to it. And when the game started, it was the same thing, a sense of calm and rhythm that Charlie didn't panic. Like you said, and Tony was right. It doesn't matter. We're going out there, you know, we'll figure it out. We're not going to try to tinker and try to put guys here and there, you know, to just try to switch things up. Because switching things up, you're changing the whole vibration of the squad.
It's a ground ball to first, and Brad Miller takes it himself. That is 9 ground ball outs for Zach Wheeler. That's an 8-pitch inning on top of a 9-pitch inning in the last one. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. By your Philadelphia area local Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDealer.com. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pennsylvanians are scratching their way to fun thanks to the Pennsylvania Lottery scratch-offs. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Well, the entire Miller family seems to be here at the ballpark today, although Marty has better seats than his brother Matt. Marty was the one in the beard that we showed, and then Matt is his brother that was not sitting with him. And his other brother, Mike, is right there. So the entire Miller family's here. Mike works all of our cameras. Yeah, it's Miller time. Mike works all of our cameras around the ballpark. Sometimes he leaves his camera and goes, but it's locked. Everything's fine. Pitch in there, strike 0-1. Well, this has been a pitcher's duel. We've had some electricity the last couple of days offensively. Had a little bit today. But this is a dandy between Walker and Zach Wheeler.
Well, I think that was to be expected. That's why it was very important to come out and get that lead early and give it to your ace. And it's almost like you got your lead. It's yours now, big man. It was kind of like the days Roy would pitch, days Cole would pitch, days Cliff would pitch. It's like just get out early. That 2 runs on the scoreboard and that other dugout really feels like 4 or 5.
If you get 2, they got to get 3.
And you know that was very tough to happen against those guys for sure.
On the out-of-town scoreboard, Atlanta, thanks to an Ozzie Albies home run, leads Washington 2-1. Freddie Freeman yesterday left the game early for the Braves, and they were a little concerned. It turned out he has a respiratory infection. So it's not an injury. Nobody really knew at the time. Breaking ball, and it's 2-2. Both of these teams have off tomorrow, and then the Mets will play the Nationals. The Phillies will welcome in the Dodgers. Three balls, 2 strikes. Jankowski hits it sharply. Diving stop by Alonso on one hop, and a good play by Walker again, who falls to his fanny as he slips off the bag. That was a tough throw to Corral. Made 1 out. I think he's okay. He's a big man.
Got to lead that guy, Jimmy. You got to give him a little lead, throw it behind him a little bit. Nice play by Walker.
Our GMC precision play.
Give Alonso credit for the stop. Whoa, and probably got a piece of that.
The bag too.
He needs a minute.
Yep.
And it's a lot easier. You make that play. It's a hard hit ground ball. So you get up, take a couple steps, and give him a nice feed. There's no reason to, stay there on the ground and make that flip. You have plenty of time. Make it easier on everybody.
You can't even wave off a trainer these days. You fall down on the field and the bench empties to come out and see if you're all right.
The Mets athletic trainers coming out with Rojas.
Put some freeze on that butt.
That was Cooper getting a little duct tape and Tylenol.
Duct tape and Tylenol. All right, well, I think he's okay. Alonso just apologized again. Gene Segura's coming up.
Cadillac time.
Cadillac gives us a look at his home run, brought to you by StatCast. 393 feet. And that gave the Phils a 1-0 lead. They would add to it a couple batters later. Speaking of Cadillac time, have you seen Sarge, Mike, this weekend?
I saw him. Yes, I saw him yesterday in the suite where everybody was. Had a little glass of red wine in his hand.
Jimmy, have you seen the Sarge?
I have not seen Sarge. I've been hanging out with you, T-Mac.
Yeah. I thought he might wander in.
Well, he at the T-Mac Sexy Lounge, I guess. He didn't get the invite.
Yeah, well, if he knew, particularly that there's some ribs up here, he might find his way in. 1 ball and 1 strike. A high bouncer out towards second, and VR throws out Segura. 2 outs. And Bryce Harper is going to be the hitter. Bryce, by the way, did change his batting gloves. You guys were talking about superstitions before. He did change his batting gloves yesterday. He's gone white. Got rid of the ripped red ones.
Did he change after the game for today, or did you notice that yesterday they were different?
I was told that he changed at some point during the game yesterday.
Probably couldn't hold the bat anymore. I mean, you hold on, and next thing you know, it's all the way up to your pinky finger.
Jimmy, these things were torn. I mean, they were shredded.
I saw when he does his whatever he does, the shaka, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. But they were working.
1 ball, 1 strike.
There's been times I've used a broken bat.
It
just has a little. I mean, it doesn't really affect the barrel.
Me too.
Throw a couple of nails in there, tar it up, rosin, and get it going.
He went back to Chris Bryant's bat too. He's been using that, not all the time, but he's used it. He said a couple weeks ago he started using it.
Yeah, a small fracture in a bat won't hurt the flight of the ball.
1 ball, 1 strike. In the air to left field. Dominic Smith is going back, and he's going to be a spectator. An opposite field solo home run for Bryce. The Phillies add to their lead. It's 3-0 here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
I don't know. I may buy into this uppercut stuff. What do you think? Huh?
It's working pretty good today.
They got this like 6 from the flower bed to the 6th row. They got it just fit it up perfect.
Mike, you'd hit 750 home runs here. Trust me.
I mean, look at that. He just got the look of a guy that could hit him out there all day long.
Yeah.
Rhys Hoskins, who's been watching the last couple of days, has been very energetic with his reactions as Conforto makes the grab to finish up the inning. Well, the long ball has been the Phil's friend today. 3 different solo home runs. The latest one, Bryce Harper, the other way. That home run by Harper, his 20th of the year. Phillies lead it 3-0. The Phillies got 2 solo home runs in the first inning by Segura and Real Muto, and then a solo home run by Bryce Harper in the 6th. He now has 8 20 home run seasons in his career. And then Zach Wheeler's basically taken the keys and he's run with them. Harper getting his reaction as he goes out to right field. That's becoming commonplace. One of my favorite moments was always when Pat Burrell would go out to left field and the fans would kind of serenade him. Raul was the same way. I think that's kind of neat. It's kind of your own sort of neighborhood out there as an outfielder.
I never did get serenade from the crowd.
You did, not in that way. You didn't know. No. We'd probably get them to do it now if you want.
I kind of was envious of that. The outfielders always went out there.
Yeah, they got their
whole
own
section.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we just turn around and look at them. But on the flip side, when you go on the road, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm an infielder. So glad I'm an infielder.
Favilla warming up in the bullpen for the Mets as we start the top of the 7th inning. Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, Dominic Smith, and it's 0-2. That ball went into a suite here at the ballpark, and I think it just went right through an open door. Swing and a foul tip. 7 strikeouts for Wheeler. This has been he has just been comfortable today, the way he's pitching.
Making the Mets hitters look bad. A lot of bad swing and misses on fastballs, and which is really the easiest pitch in all of baseball to hit is a fastball, but they're not picking it up, taking bad swings, and that's what happens when a team is struggling. So on the other side, yes, you take advantage of it. Until they make an adjustment, you keep doing the same thing.
Swing and a miss, 0-1.
I have a theory about hitting. I got many of them actually, but the thing I've come up with lately is that I think today's hitters hit from the bottom up in terms of their visuals and their mechanics, what they practice. They put the ball on the tee, or they have the guy flipping to them in the cage, and most of the balls they're swinging at are thigh, knee high.
Right. Makes sense.
And they get into the game, and that approach to hitting doesn't work when a guy's throwing 95 from the belt buckle to the to the belly button, and a lot of your balls are above the thigh, and when you're a bottom up hitter, you basically have not much to offer when the ball's up in the hitting zone. And it could be a strike, I mean, it's an uncomfortable, but the opposite side of that is if you're a high to low hitter, and if you visualize the ball up and allowed your natural ability to hit the ball as it goes down in the hitting zone, you'd be more effective as a hitter. That's what I did my last 2 years when I became a much better hitter than any time in my career.
That ball's hit well. Out to center field. Jankowski's going back. He has room, and he makes the catch right on the edge of the track. 2 outs. Thursday, the Eagles take on the Steelers in their first preseason game of the year. Watch Eagles pregame live at 6 here on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Then catch the game over on NBC 10. Get complete Eagles coverage all season long with NBC Sports Philadelphia and our partners, NBC 10.
And Mike, that makes so much sense. The guys struggle and why. And I get the philosophy of learning how to hit the ball low, because pitchers are always taught to throw the ball down and away. Up and in just to change their eyesight, bag them off the plate, but you want to get them out low and away, which is getting further and further away from the barrel. But as you said, when you're working top down, this is the top of the strike zone. If it's above that, I can't get there. Kind of weekend has been for the Mets hitters right there. Snooze fest. We enjoyed that. But if the ball is low, the bat speed, the head of the bat will speed up as it's getting closer to the ground, because gravity's going to pull it. So why would I want to work up, which is going to be naturally slower? If I'm working down with my hands at the top of the strike zone, I can't hit anything above this and start working down. You're going to give yourself a better chance to cover more of the strike zone. As you say, your last few years when you're at your best, you put that to exercise. Not that the years before that were too darn shabby, but.
Well, whenever you see a highlight of a home run on a ball that's a bit up in the hitting zone, in most cases you'll see the top hand has to be applied. You know what I'm saying?
Has to be.
The top hand has to be applied, and that's why you don't see too many high fastballs hit a long way.
Ball's pulled foul by Dominic Smith. The count is 1-2.
Because applying the top hand is an unnatural thing for hitters nowadays. They actually try to teach them to do everything they can not to roll that top hand.
Which is just, it's like creating lag, and you're going to create that anyway. As you stride and you start using the axial torque to get the bat around, you're creating drag that way.
Swing and a miss. 21 in a row retired by Zach Wheeler since the double that began the ball game. He has been giving headaches to the Mets today. This is a beautiful pitch under the hands of Dominic Smith.
I didn't see Bull up on the thing.
Who?
Bull.
I didn't either. Hello, Phillies fans. Michael Barkan, Ricky Batalico in our NBC Sports Philadelphia studio. Post-game live right after the last out recorded. And Ricky Bo, we know we'll be continuing this beautiful day that began with the retirement of Roy Halladay's number 34. And how about Zach Wheeler? Little hiccup with the first batter, and then not at all.
A hiccup with the first batter, and then 21 straight. Yeah, I think he's got his stuff today. I love how he's controlling his fastball because he's controlling every batter, both sides of the plate. I mean, did you see the swing by Jeff McNeil last inning? Yeah. That's pathetic.
Didn't know what he was
I mean, this guy is just powering through this Mets lineup. The Mets lineup on top of it looks extremely lost, if you ask me.
And not so Bryce Harper, who did not have a hit yesterday, and boom.
Got himself one.
Today.
Yeah. He just keeps it going. That's what it's all about. I mean, you know what? Sometimes you're not going to get a ton of hits. Make the most of them. Phillies are doing that.
We are going to hear from Bryce Harper, Joe Girardi, and one Michael Jack Schmidt immediately after the game. Tommy?
Little check swing by Brad Miller, boys. It's a fair ball. 2-3 on the putout. We appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you guys in the post-game show. Got to get Bull to bring some ribs over to Ricky. Bull brought some ribs up for us today. Brought some ribs into the radio booth because Larry didn't get anything yesterday, so he wanted some stuff today. Here's Alec Bohm facing Jeurys Familia, who's on for Taijuan Walker. Familia with 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, all 3 runs solo home runs. And now Familia, who has gotten his sinker back, his heavy 96, 97 mile an hour sinker. There it is. And it's 0-1. 40th game. An ERA of 4.10.
Jimmy, you faced Familia, I'm sure, a lot of times, right?
Oh, yeah, he had a heavy sinker. I did not have success against this guy at all.
I mean, the first pitch to Bohm looked like a fastball, and it, you know, just boom, the bottom just dropped.
Bowling ball. I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy. You know, some guys, the ball hits your bat and it feels like a weight.
Yeah.
That's what his ball feels like.
It's a heavy ball. That's right. We used to say, man, this guy throws a heavy ball.
Well, from our vantage point, it looks like it looks like it feels that way. Fouled away on the out-of-town scoreboard. Update from Truist Park, where Atlanta leads at 3-1. Austin Riley, an RBI double. The ball's 2 strikes to Alec Bohm. Alec is 0 for 2. He's fly to right center field, where Nimmo's playing right now. And he's grounded out. He hits that one over the bag into center field, a base hit. 3rd hit of the series for him. He's sitting 7 of 9. Phillies fans, Xfinity Mobile delivers fast nationwide 5G on the most reliable network. Save on your wireless bill with Xfinity Mobile.
Hey, Jimmy, that was a nice 0-2 base hit up the middle against Familia. That's a bad pitch, of course, by him when they get a hit on it. So with 0-2, he puts it in the middle of the plate. But Bohm credit. I mean, he took advantage of that, and that's where it's got to be hit, right up the middle.
Yes, exactly. And
second knock today.
I've never had the righty sinker. Is that what you have to do to fight that, like to stay up the middle second base side on the righty sinker?
They're doing what they're doing because if you try to pull it, it's an out.
Got it.
or you swing and miss. But Bohm's stroke is really geared to the center of the field. And I think he's got a great future. I struggled my first year, not that he's struggling like I did, but he's struck out way too much for what he expects of himself. But he's got a great foundation for hitting because he uses the entire field. I think when he gets some information on pitchers, when he can face some guys, 4 or 5 times and knows what they want to do with him, he'll be even better. You ever watch a guy and, there's not a lot of, shoulder coming out and all that? He stays on the ball, covers the ball good.
That was Jason Worth.
Pretty much.
You knew at some point when he put it all together, he was going to be trouble. And he ended up being a lot of trouble, especially his last few years with us, being able to hit the ball from probably about the Yingling sign all the way down to the waste management. There was nothing, and upper deck. I mean, he wasn't just dropping him over the fence. He was going way back. but it took a little information and then just confidence in his ability to hit that. You know what? I'm a big leaguer and I can hit big league pitching, be successful, and then that turned into a lot of home runs.
Yeah, that kind of evolved in the 08 season big time.
You know, and he gave the impression, like I was talking about me, where he couldn't hit the ball on the outer third, you know, because he stood way off of there, and he took a lot of pitches. He used to take a whole lot of pitches.
Yes.
And but when he knew he had them out there where he wanted them, he could cover with those long arms. Big asset to your 08 team,
yes,
right?
He was.
They have 90 ribbies in there behind Howard.
Yep.
Ball's back toward the middle, backhanded by McNeil. He just steps on the bag, and that's an unfortunate double play off the bat of Torreyes.
There's one where we would have liked to have seen the ball carry him off the pitcher.
Exactly.
Or
get
the
in the way.
Phillies baseball is brought to you by Therabody, the official recovery partner of the Phillies. Visit Reset by Therabody in Fishtown and recover like a pro. And by Nextiva, when you need business communications for the office, the home office, and everywhere in between, choose Nextiva. Phillies lead at 3-0. They have 3 solo home runs this afternoon. Our Toyota Camry turning point. Really, it's been Zach Wheeler again. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yes, he's just been rearing back, throwing fastballs, making the Mets hitters look bad, hitting his spots, elevating the ball, understanding what he has to do. He and JT put a game plan together, and here he is showing this athleticism. Like I said, who says pitchers aren't athletes? And he's just been dominant, much of what he's been doing all year long.
Yeah, he's retired 21 consecutive hitters. In fact, the ball that Alonso hit, the fly ball to center field in the 7th, was the first ball the Mets hit out of the infield in the last 6 innings. Here's J.D. Davis. He grounds it foul. Davis is hitting in the spot vacated by Baez. Baez got hurt in his last at bat on a ground out to second. He's 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts in the series. Two. Dominant 4-seam, 2-seam combination today from Zach Wheeler. He has struck out 8 over 7 innings. Yeah, the 0-2 pitch coming in. Swing and a miss. A high fastball. That is strikeout number 9.
About to say. Grip on that fastball. I was about to say, I haven't even seen. Have we seen a 2-0 count yet?
We'll check on that. That's a good point. He keeps working ahead.
A lot of 0-2 counts.
A lot of 0-2. A lot of 0-2. A lot of 1-2. The only base runner is Nimmo. He doubled with 2 strikes in the 1st inning. And that's it. Conforto's 0 for 2. He's grounded out and he is struck out. Well, there you go, Mike.
2-0.
There you go. What were you guys saying about superstitions? Jimmy's not fazed by it.
Nope.
Three infielders on the right side.
Knee-high Petro right there.
Hit foul, and now it's back even 2-2.
He just looks to me like he has such a relaxed windup that at the release point, that's when he really accelerates that ball. You know, there's no, you know, tension prior to the moment of truth when he lets go of that ball.
Yeah, the repeating of it is really remarkable for a power pitcher. He's got a full 3-2.
Well, fastball hitters. Here comes your fastball. Lefty used to yell at in the dugout all the time. All right, you fastball hitters.
And ball 4. He walked him. That's the first base runner since the first inning. He had retired 22 consecutive hitters. So 1 walk to go along with 9 strikeouts. And it brings VR up.
So, Jimmy, when these guys are all looking at the cards they pull out of their back pocket, what exactly does that? What do they say on them? Move over 2 steps, or move?
I have no idea, because if they would have ever tried to give me a card, we'd have problems. We'd have problems.
Maybe there's an A, B, and a C defense or something. I'd love to know.
Yard takes a strike, 0-1.
Sure, I could find out, but
I think it does give tendencies on, whenever the count is against certain players.
And that's fine, but I'm reading the swings. I'm reading the pitch of the swings. Look, you have to understand, these guys could have had a late dinner last night, went out and hung out, and you never know. I don't care what this chart says. Today, this is what I'm seeing, so this is how I'm going to play.
And believe me, you from shortstop and second base, you can see what's going on.
Yes, yes. That's why don't tell me where to play. I'm going to play where I feel this swing is going to be.
Even at third base, he used to have. I got like a step in my brain based on how the reaction I see the hitter having. You know what I mean? I can almost see that the ball's coming to me, even when it's like halfway to home plate, based on what I see the batter doing physically.
100%.
Popped up.
Take it, Jimmy.
Running down.
That's what I used to yell. You got it, Larry.
Did Larry like pop-ups?
No.
He did it.
Huh?
He did it.
No. His hands would shake. But he caught them all. He caught them.
Well, McCann's the hitter with 2 outs.
Yeah, we wouldn't kid him if we didn't love him, right?
Right.
You know it.
Well, it would come right back at all of us if he was here. So. McCann today has grounded out twice, weakly to second and also to short. Kevin Pillar is out of the on-deck circle to pinch hit, as Trevor May, the former Phil prospect, is in the bullpen warming. Out to right center field. Harper is there. Shallow right center, makes the catch. 8 shutout innings for Zach Wheeler. On an afternoon where the Phillies honored Roy Halladay and retired his number, Zach Wheeler is putting together that kind of performance. Time now for our Miller Lite moment, and there have been a lot of moments this weekend. It began when the Phillies honored David Montgomery. Lefty and Schmitty pulled the curtain on the portrait that's up here on the Hall of Fame club. Then yesterday was Matty Trio's day, and today it was retiring Roy Halladay's number 34. Carlos Ruiz with a kiss for his buddy. John Middleton, the Phillies owner, also out there. And then his number was put up on the Budweiser rooftop along with all the other immortals for the Phillies. Phillies lead at 3-0. Call to the bullpen for the Mets, brought to you by Nextiva. When you need business communications for the office, the home office, and everywhere in between, choose Nextiva.
Phillies are the best. Said it many times. They're the best at the nostalgic days, the honoring of former players, honoring of players that reached milestones like young Jim here. Remember our little bad boy deal we had?
Oh, yeah.
Handed the baton over to Jimmy.
That was a surprise. I had Mike running up and down the stairs.
That's right.
He's got it. No, he doesn't got it. He got it? No, he doesn't got it. The 1 pitch by May to Williams, taken for a strike. It's 0-2.
Tomey, he did the Tomey thing. Remember, I did the thing with Jim Tomey.
That was cool.
Yep.
The last day of the vet, that was cool. Yeah, those ceremonies, I remember the stirring ceremonies, the last day of the vet. But you're right. I had a couple of major league announcers who reached out to me yesterday after the show we had along with the game as Alonso goes sliding into the Tri-Vision. As that ball goes into the crowd. Nice grab by that young lady. She brought her glove. And they talked about how, from an organizational standpoint, and listen, we're not objective when it comes to this, but from an organizational standpoint, they say how the Phillies do it better than anybody else.
Right.
There's a lot of truth to that. It really is. Keeping sort of the ties to the past players and front office members. It's important.
When Jimmy, when you were watching like some of the old timer things, did you ever, while you were watching it, say, you know, that's going to be me someday? You know what I mean? And watch it with interest as opposed to staying in the clubhouse and, you know, you got your blinders on, you got the game.
Yes.
I notice today's players are out there and seem very interested in what's going on in those nights.
Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely a thing where, you know, I paid attention because I wanted to pay respects to what was going on, but also at the same time didn't want to, you know, try to interfere, because it was almost like revered, like I don't want to mess up what's going on. Exactly, you know, exactly. Like, let me just step back. Kind of like when you say you saw Roy, it's kind of like, oh, just like I respect it and I see it, and hopefully that's going to be me one day. But you know, there was some reverence to it for sure.
I'm that way a lot about the locker room and the batting cages now. I mean, I always say to myself, you know, it's their time. I like to be known as a good guy, but I don't want to show myself too much.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yep, 100%.
Wheeler goes down
on the other
strikes.
side, I wanted you guys around because you know, the other organizations, you see the players hanging around, and it was like, man, I wish we had more of that here. But now that I'm on the other side, I understand it too.
Well, there's that moment we talked about where Jimmy passed Michael on the all-time hits list, and they got together out of first base. 7 years.
Yeah, and Mike raised. I wasn't going to do that. He was like, "No, give me a hand. It's yours now." I was like, "All right, I guess it's official now."
That was a great day.
Yes, it was.
Jankowski takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
It was funny. I don't really feel pressure, but I felt a lot of pressure just leading up to that. Like
you didn't seem like you did. You really didn't.
Well, my dad was in town. His flight was going to go
I
out.
remember that,
we were going on the road. I'm like, I have to get it done here.
Yes, that is pressure.
Yeah.
When you got a little milestone out there ahead of you, and everybody's, you know, wondering if you can actually do it. I got that home run thing pretty quick, and I swear I thought it was going to take 2 months.
Right.
You know.
Good for you.
No balls, 2 strikes to Jankowski. We're at the bottom of the 8th inning. Swing and a miss and a high fastball, and the side is retired. So May just came in and struck out the side, which means that we are a step closer to going to the 9th inning, where Zach Wheeler will try to pick up his 3rd complete game of the season, and the Phillies will look to sweep out the New York Mets when we return. The Dodgers are in town beginning on Tuesday night. It's Max Scherzer against Aaron Nola. David Price will start on Wednesday for the Dodgers, and Kyle Gibson for the Phils. Urias on Thursday. It should be Ranger Suarez on Thursday for the Phils. We'll see. Roy Halladay's number 34 was retired before the ball game today. His Hall of Fame plaque is on display here, at least for today. His number was put up next to Steve Carlton and Robin Roberts. It is looming behind the mounds, and you can't really underscore this. Zach Wheeler is pitching a game that Roy Halladay used to pitch all the time. I mean, truly. He's had 1-2-0 count today.
That's so true, Tom. So true. And how fitting on a day where Roy Halladay's number is retired. we have a similar game. Your point's so well taken.
Here's Pilar to lead it off as a pinch hitter, and he grounds it foul. Pilar 2 for 16 as a pinch hitter. 39,186, the largest crowd this year to see the Phillies play. It's 0-2. In fact, post-pandemic, it's the largest crowd in Philadelphia for a sporting event. It's been a great weekend. It's like the old days this weekend. The 0-2 pitch, high, 1-2. Like the old days. Like them a lot.
And you know what's good? Players like Torres, Bohm, looking around the field right now.
Brad Miller.
Jankowski. You see another strikeout. They all are now getting a sense of how it feels.
Yes.
You know, there's a pitch, the strikeout pitch, a slider off the plate outside. You know, when you're so good right now as Wheeler is, the guys are just, they sort of lose the sense of the hitting zone.
Yeah, everything's a strike. From the time it leaves your hand, it's a strike. And it pretty much almost has been.
Yeah, today, Zach Wheeler's filled up the 95-mile-per-hour fastballs. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities for each one thrown today. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the fastest internet in Philadelphia. And then he drops a curve to start Nimmo 0-1. He has 10 strikeouts this afternoon.
Jimmy, we've heard this before.
What's that?
Back in the day, you've heard this atmosphere before, but a lot, as I said before, not everyone on the Phillies has. And what a great thing to give that experience to guys.
Yeah.
And
yes,
these people know how to do it.
Yes, they do.
You know, they were already screaming, sweep, sweep, sweep.
Yes, and we were hitting. It was like, you know, we still have to go out and pitch, right?
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a foul tip. 1-2.
Well, especially against this team.
Yeah, for sure. Got postseason atmosphere here.
I don't think you're missing all the rally towels, T-Mac.
Hey, and
there's been a lot of talk about that too.
Let's give some credit to Ian Kennedy. Yeah, yesterday's closer for keeping this atmosphere alive.
This will be the 100th pitch of the day. The 39,186 on their feet. And here it comes. It's high. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nimmo, who has doubled today. He has the only hit. It was a leadoff double. Since that time, Zach Wheeler retired 22 in a row before he walked Michael Conforto, who had the only 2-0 count. Now it's 2-2. And the pitch to Nimmo. Hit foul. He's not going quietly.
93 pitches. He's got it. He won't need him, but he's got another 20-25 in him.
Yeah, look at the line.
The way it looks to me.
Yeah.
9 in the 3rd, 9 in the 5th, 8 in the 6th. He'll throw his 10th in this inning right here. And the pitch. Tapped it foul. Back in 1991, the Phillies won 11 straight to start the month of August. They've currently won 7 straight. And again, the 2-2 pitch. Oh, he is fouling one after another off. He just scared the bejesus out of the guy behind home plate on that foul ball. Joe Girardi has got a seatbelt on in the dugout. They've duct taped him to the chair.
An even keel manager, Joel. He looks the same no matter what's going on out there.
2-2 pitch. Line drive, base hit it to center field. So a base runner for the Mets. Nimmo's second hit of the day against his former teammate. And it brings Jeff McNeil up. Archie Bradley's going to get up to the Phillies bullpen. Caleb Cotham on the horn. Only 3 base runners today for the New York Mets. And Nimmo's been on base twice.
Well, you got to deny the bunt at third base for one thing. You don't want to get Alonso up to the plate. The ability to tie it up.
McNeil is 0 for 3. Breaks his bat, pops it up out towards second. He's looking to see if they're running. He makes the catch because McNeil started to run. He made the catch.
That's some style right there.
Yeah, I like it. I love playing the game with a little flair. There's nothing like it. Be an entertainer.
Not to mention he caught it down here. I mean,
Has a little Cliff Lee right there.
Look, I always thought, I grew up watching Ricky Henderson. People come to see baseball, but they want to be entertained. When they leave, that their money was well spent, and they have a story to tell.
He's going, let me see, which is the fastest runner here?
Watch McNeil. Look. He's like, oh, man. And he's like, I better run because he's thinking about just letting it go. 2 outs here at the top of the 9th inning. The Phillies try to sweep out the Mets, but also maintain their lead in the division. And the pitch, swing and a miss. We saw the blueprint yesterday against Alonso. You may see it again. Start high, go higher. To see everybody standing, 39,000 plus, is an incredible sight here at the ballpark. Nimmo not being held on. At the knees, 0-2.
Especially when you think what we've been through in the last year and a half.
Yeah, absolutely.
COVID, and all the empty ballparks guys had to play in.
No balls, 2 strikes. Wheeler set to go. And the pitch to Alonso. Swing and a miss. He got him. The Phillies have swept out the New York Mets. A complete game shutout by Zach Wheeler, who scattered only 2 hits on an afternoon when the Phillies honored Roy Halladay and retired his number 34. Zach Wheeler put together a Roy Halladay-esque outing today. And the Phillies have won 8 consecutive games. It's their best start to a month of August since 1991. What a celebration this weekend. Pretty incredible. Their last 8-game winning streak was back in 2011. Best start in any month since 2006.
Was that about 21 or 2 scoreless innings, something like that?
Yeah, he's increased. Yep, he's increased his scoreless inning stretch to 22 over the Mets. Our W.B. Mason deliveries of the game. This is how the Phillies got their runs. It started with Segura in the first.
Didn't need any more than that.
Yeah, you're right.
But Segura stuffed the momentum on the Phillies side right out of the chute. Got the home run hat on. And then J.D. just said, I know how far that right field fence is, and just hit it another 15 feet than he needed. Made it 2-0 Phils. And Bryce, same thing the opposite way, as the left-hander dumped one into left field seats. And that gave the Phillies 3 runs, all they needed. the two-hitter to Zach Wheeler, and those are W.B. Mason, delivers of the game.
All right, so the standings look like this right now. Now, Atlanta is currently leading 5-3 in the 8th inning, so they may change. But right now, the Phillies are 2.5 games up over the Braves and over the New York Mets. Again, they were 4.5 out last Sunday going into the finale against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they have turned it around in a big way. Our Chevrolet player of the game, Zach Wheeler. It's a 2-hit shutout, and they've updated it now, Michael. You're off the hook. It's 2 2-0 counts this afternoon. And he was just fantastic, guys.
He really was. He just came out and was effective with where he wanted to throw the ball, put the ball where he wanted to. A great game plan with JT. Didn't need his off-speed pitch much, but when he threw it was effective. His cutter was working, everything going, and what a great day to do it on. Roy Halladay retirement of the number 34, and we get a performance like that.
I agree, and these two guys, Wheeler, the real Muto, just a classic battery. Classic battery, you know what I mean? It's just beautiful. Both of them smooth as silk.
Well, Zach Wheeler joins us in the dugout. Zach, let's start there. Well, first of all, congratulations. That was unbelievable to watch. But talk about just the relationship with you and JT today and how on the same page you seem to be.
Yeah, you know, it's always good when you're on the same page, obviously. And, yeah, I mean, you know, just it makes it a lot easier when you're out there and when you can command stuff and just when you have that confidence. So anytime that you're on the same page for the most part is good stuff.
All right, well, you're going to get doused in a second. Little Powerade plunge. Oh, now that is a veteran right there. He just saved the headset. I mean, that's a complete effort. That is a complete effort. Aaron Nola and Zach Eflin providing the little shower. First of all, Zach, thanks for saving the headset. We really appreciate that.
I've learned.
That was Nola, Tell him that was Nola.
So, fastball command was really good today. I mean, is that how you feel too? What you saw from what you were doing?
Yeah. You know, I think my last 2 starts, I was really trying to get back to my fastball. I felt like we were kind of just getting away from it, and that's definitely my strength. So, you know, just getting back to being able to command it, staying behind the ball, and having that true spin where it just, you know, it has that life to it. It's, you know, it makes a difference, and it plays up a little bit. So, you know, I was trying to get back to just more fastballs and just letting it ride a little bit.
Hey, Zach, Mike Schmidt up here. Congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
I talked about you in the opening, and I referenced Tom Seaver. You being a former Met, I'm sure you know the name, and have seen some highlights of him, and you remind me a great deal of Tom Seaver.
Well, I appreciate that. That's an honor.
Well, I mean, you do. You have that nice, fluid, relaxed motion. The ball just flies out of your hand when you let it go. No tension. It's just impressive to watch. It really is. Congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Great job, Zach. This is J. Roll here, man. You just continue to do what you're doing. But question, and people don't understand, you know, there's a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah.
And with the honoring of Roy Halladay, and you're the guy on the mound. Do you use that as inspiration, or do you find a way to put that out and stay with what you have to do and, you know, get within yourself to make sure you come out and execute?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, it's a special weekend for multiple reasons. I was lucky enough to pitch on, you know, Roy's day, and you know, I just try to do my best and just kind of represent him while I was out there. You know, I really enjoyed watching him growing up. You know, living in Atlanta, I got to see him a bunch. So, you know, it was really fun pitching on his day, and I just try to do my best. And of course, you know, the fans are crazy and really loud and into it, so that always pumps you up a little bit more.
This run has been great. Explain it from a player standpoint, how you guys feel through this run.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're just relaxed. You know, we just take it one game at a time. Just concentrate on, you know, the task at hand, and just go day by day and just try to keep rolling them off. And, you know, when it's your turn, you got to step up. You know, that's what playoff teams do. And, you know, hope we can continue this.
We hope you can too. Zach, congratulations, bud. It was a great outing today, and we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, awesome. An awesome answer about Doc, and really, really super. What a day. What a weekend. We've been waiting for this. Look at this. Ready? Everybody explode. Now.
That's cool.
That's a great shot. Andy Rabel. Some hugs from the guys in the bullpen. They weren't used to it. They had a vacation day. And then the Powerade plunge. Little cool shower. Phillies win it. We'll wrap it up after this.